Hey kiddos, so I'm in my favorite spot, of course, and I thought this would be a good venue for a video about, I don't know, considering existence, my existence. Around this time of year, pretty much without fail, I find myself consumed in thoughts of the human condition and not so much my place in it, but my role in it, because in many ways I don't feel human, but I am a being. I'm sentient and able to exact change, and so it's more my role rather than kind of staking a claim to this nebulous experience, because I find it particularly hard to relate to. And what marks this time of year is disaster season. Typically around this time in the United States, we are experiencing various climate phenomena, extreme weather, especially hurricanes. This is hurricane season. We are currently in the middle of hurricane season. I think it starts in June and goes until September, October-ish, middle of October. Not entirely certain. It's not my job to know that, but it is my job to help survivors of natural disasters, Let's call them disasters. And so yes, if you're new to the channel, I do in fact have a job. It can seem like I don't at times because, well, I don't. It's a seasonal kind of thing. And also while I'm doing my job, it can very much feel like I'm not actually working. It can seem like I'm on vacation, and I call it my money vacation because typically I'm traveling and I very much enjoy traveling. And so it is a job that I enjoy. I do disaster relief. And something super fucking annoying, it's not something that I run into particularly often, but it is dumb. When I explain to others what it is that I do, they will take the relief part of my job and I don't know why this is funny, but they equate it to sex work because relief. And whenever someone says that to me, I just think, I mean, I guess if you consider yourself a fucking disaster, it's mostly annoying, but I do find that it is important to realize that other people's perspectives do matter, no matter how fucking stupid they are. Yes, I do disaster relief, and pretty much what it is I speak to disaster survivors and I get an idea of what all has been damaged during the storm or as a product of the storm, and I make sure that these people get the funds that they need in order to rebuild their lives. And so it is an immensely rewarding job, probably more rewarding than it is easy, because at times it can be difficult, but each individual inspection that I do isn't hard. It's the quantity that will be difficult to manage, because at times I will be working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it is not sustainable by any means. But let me get back to what I want to talk about for this video. I think it's important to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from as far as my headspace goes and what I'm referencing as far as the experience. I remember a few years back I did a video on nihilism, maybe a couple years, I don't quite remember, but I don't talk about nihilism. I'm talking about being at odds with my existence and suicide and all that kind of stuff, but nihilism plays a part into how I feel about life. And I think that while there is really no intrinsic purpose or reason that I exist, that the fact that I can choose my own is the beauty of the experience, that I can ascribe my own values, my own meaning to life. And while I feel like I'm not entirely equipped to do that at the moment, and I may never be, there are, I guess, micro reasons, micro purpose that I kind of try to build into maybe one underlying purpose. Or maybe it's the other way around, where I have an underlying thing that I want to fulfill, and I'm trying to find the little actions, the things that I can do in order to make that a reality. It mostly doesn't matter. Either way, it's incomplete. And from my existence as a sentient being capable of change, I have found that I don't like the world. I am rather cynical when it comes to people. I don't trust nor believe in people, and that's okay. I am a pessimist. I've always been rather pessimistic, and I've never had a glowing opinion of people from a very young age. Overall, I don't see the world as a place worth existing in, which to some can be sad. And maybe the world not being a place worth existing in, that's not entirely it. It's a society being a construct that I want to engage with, but it also has tainted my view of the world, the environment in which I exist in. But not entirely to the point where I see the world as something not worth trying to make better. But I don't have a lot of faith in people. And while I don't necessarily fully think of myself as a person, I also don't have much faith in myself either. And while I do have quite a bleak outlook on the world and myself, I do believe that in that one can find purpose, and that has been for a while what I have been endeavoring to do, because I found that my experience hasn't been great. My experience hasn't been something that I particularly enjoy, interacting with the world. And there's a lot of fucking assholes. It just makes it really hard to appreciate the magnificence of everything around me. everything's covered in buttholes. It's shitty, to belabor the fucking metaphor. I see a lot of rhetoric surrounding being the change that you would like to see in the world. And, doing unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And while I think that is valiant, I also understand that I'm not able to control other people through my actions. And I believe, for the most part, people are very selfish and self-interested and would do things to hurt others before helping them if they stood to gain from it. And that's not necessarily, so morally wrong, but it does make life for other people a little shittier. I think that a lot of people endeavor to be good people in order to set an example, in order to have that reciprocated back to them. I endeavor to be a good person because in my heart, I believe that others aren't capable of it. And of course, there are good people out there, of course, but it very much seems like the amount of good that they're pumping into the world could never outshadow the bad. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a quote from some philosopher, or maybe a book, or I don't know where the original quote came from, but I think I saw it on Hannibal, the show Hannibal, where it's something to the effect of, the optimist believes that of all the dimensions, all the timelines, the one that we are currently existing in is the best one, while the pessimist is afraid that we're living in the best one. And that really resonated with me. And with that in mind, I try my best to always be a person who adds to others rather than taking away from them. I've interacted with so many assholes, and I understand the experience to be unpalatable. And I never want to be that person to someone else, because I selfishly feel like my experience shouldn't be the experience of others. In my little corner of this experience that we call life, I try very hard to enrich others' lives when I am interacting with them. I always want to come away from any interaction that I have with someone with them feeling as though they matter, because that is a luxury rarely afforded to me. And I think that is how I am able to connect to personhood. I think without that, there's nothing holding me in place. But it is important to me to be considerate. It's important to me to be of service, to help others. because I'm so used to being hindered myself. And it's always kind of sad that the people that are constantly helping others really don't have much of a capacity for helping themselves, and it's very true. And it's not like a humble brag. This is nothing to be proud of, because I treat myself the same way that the world treats me. And that's fucked up. But yeah, I think it's really important, really meaningful to have something that tethers you to this plane of existence in a way that is constructive. And for me, it is my capacity to make others' lives less shitty, to make others' lives more palatable, because my own life is so goddamn unpalatable. And maybe one day I will gain the capacity to see myself as someone worth helping, valuing. I don't know. I don't think so. After all, I am a pessimist.